Hello, hello, guys. Fuck me, I love that song. How we doing tonight? Hello. I am doing good. Nice trade, Vishero. Nice, 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 nice unicorn during Asia. Yeah, I definitely we exciting Asia already 400 points in, and we're what two hours and a half in the day. Appreciate you guys saying that I'm right on that. As per price, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, today wasn't a good day for me. I ended up being able to make money, and I'll show you guys how I personally did that. But as per my higher time frame understanding, I mean, it's just I don't see price going back higher. I feel lost. I'm still able to engage with price in the correct manner and to make money off of the moves I trade because I follow my rules, and those rules work no matter if your bias is right or wrong. But it's weird having that feeling of not knowing where price is going when I've had so much time previously to focus on it. And I just noticed something. I was using personally the previous day's range, but the low of this candle is 17,919. And I mean that's pretty fucking precise there. A little mohawk, of course. See, that would have been great. Can't see the screen. Yeah, you know what, guys? It would be best if I share my screen. It is always a better thing to share my screen. Okay. Let me do that for a second. There we go. Show that handsome face. I'm right here. Got a haircut too, so I'll take that. But basically what I was showcasing is just utilizing the full range instead of just the previous day's range. But for me, with a 12% up day, second biggest day ever for Nasdaq, right? Ever, not recently, not in the last 10, 20 years, ever. Pretty crazy, right? So I personally was initially looking for a retracement. I thought we were enough with just the first quarter, so I did look for a long this morning. I took a loss and then took a short that ended up being successful, which I'll showcase to you guys. First of all, let's go in replay mode here and not here and look at the day, right? And I will remove these levels. Well, no, I won't. We're going to keep them. Charts are going to be a little bit crowded, but we're going to keep those levels. Do like how it respected 50% of the previous day candle? Yeah, pretty much. So we returned to that level and then we formed a retracement from that point, which we'll talk about as well. Personally, for me, when I see this price action, this isn't enough for me to justify it being a high, but I should have noticed one very simple thing, and it's that this is lower here. It's a little hard to spot, but once you get once you get a line into it, you can see the angle of the line when this was higher on Nasdaq. So we have SM on ES, sorry. So we have SMT at previous day high. I missed that this morning. So this is a high probability high of day. That's simple. Very early on in the day, in the first hour. So already statistically speaking, it's on side, and then you have SMT as well. I should have just looked for shorts as a distribution for the day. But I was still stuck on a long bias, so personally I took a long somewhere near the open. We'll go look at it here in a second. And I lost. And also an important thing to point out is if we look at our session highs and lows. So let's look at Asia and London, right? Which are the main frameworks that I like to go off of. We also had the statistical edge from that point to go and target this. I just saw an error here, so I'm going to fix that. But this is an error. It shouldn't be this far. Okay, well, I love spotting bugs. Is Rice still getting the RTO indicator you made? It is not getting the Real Trader Tim indicator. No, that is um, a separate subscription altogether, a separate tool, collaboration tool that we made. You'll see. All right, give me a week for Res, and you'll see. I don't want to say too much. I've already said a lot. But basically, these frameworks clearly did not work, but they would justify me going for a long, for example, early on near the open. But after we continue expanding lower here, we've had multiple chances to form a low of day. And honestly, it's really just about the SMT, which I missed near the open. But once I got back to my 15-minute chart and looked again, then I saw it. Honestly, simple mistake by me. I can't really be mad. If the only mistakes I make are some small ones like these and they cost me one trade, in my head is just cost of doing business. If we look right at the open, as I said, I myself was looking to long, so I was waiting for a bullish breaker to be formed. And we formed a bullish breaker. I believe we had one a little earlier, no? I longed in here. No, so no bullish breaker formed before that point. Perhaps with SMT, let's look at it very quickly. I mean, there is SMT here, which would mean that this is a bullish breaker. Very hard to go long off of this, honestly. If you did, well, sadly it did not work, right? I personally went long down here and held it all the way to a loss. So I'll showcase this one. And why am I showcasing this bullish breaker instead of perhaps this one or the other one? The first one to form. So when we trade higher here, the first bullish breaker to form is this this breaker block right here. And then what do you look for an entry? Well, honestly, I did not see this, but this is a fair value gap. Nonetheless, the entry was on the inversion fair value gap for me here. So let's just mark it out and let's move the red. Red is a little intense here. So this inversion fair value gap would be your entry level. And personally, my low-hanging fruit objective, myself, was far higher. So you see these equal highs here? And I'm looking at the premium and discount of the current day, right? So let's do it correctly. So at that point in time, the range I'm looking to reverse is this, right? And see, the first premium and efficiency is, well, this high, but these are relative equal highs. If we go back down to the 1 minute, you guys will see those are the equal highs I was talking about. So that for me, whenever I have relative equal highs, I group it into one level, and that was, there we go. So that was my, personally my target. And I was not looking to partial here because as you will see in a second here, after we place our stop, so inversion fair value gap, as I told you, I missed this fair value gap, but your stop would have been here anyway, so at the swing low. And even if you did not see that fair value gap, well, you had multiple order blocks here, so your stop would still be at this level. And if we look at the lows here, we can see there's no SMT, no clear thing. But as I tell you guys always, I don't need a perfect setup. I don't need for every single thing to be there. One thing missing is okay. And for me, as I was saying, I was biased here. I hate reviewing days and telling you guys about my mistakes, and not because I don't want to share those, right? It's really more so about I hate reviewing the charts when it was like wrong and the wrong way to look at price, the wrong way to look at the charts. So this right here is the trade I was looking for. Thankfully, I took, well, basically a slight loss because I was a bit late on this entry. I marked it in and I was about approximately here, I'd say. And so, no, not looking at partial before this level. But when I saw the bearish setup form with the rejection of the 930 open, right, which is this orange line we see here, with that rejection right here, I use this as a higher time frame point of interest and I look too short. We learned from the wrong steps as well. Yeah, definitely. But it's so weird to look at the charts and review them and say, well, see, this is how you should have looked at it. But I personally myself made a mistake this morning. But I feel like it's more real. It's like a plane crash. I cannot speak today. It's like a plane crash. It has to be reviewed thoroughly so it doesn't happen again. Yes, definitely. Makes you human and we all learn from it. Well, awesome then. I'm glad my losses can be of use to you guys because they aren't to me anymore. But if we look at this, I really just flip my trades, and I mean, I don't believe it's a bad thing to do. A lot of people will tell you that it's bad to flip your trades. I personally have no issue against it because I know that for every breaker block that forms, it is a high probability opportunity. So once I saw this bearish breaker form, right, I was in this trade drawdown. Oh, we're finally going back up. But now we reject the 930 open. And on this big candle of 1043, we form this breaker block and we have a unicorn right after. Like, this is for me a signal to get out. But I can only get out of my long if I can also justify taking a short. And truth is, you guys will see here in a second, let's look at this liquidity. And this is it, right? As I said, this is where you get stopped out. But if you look to flip your trade, I would have looked at this opportunity right here with the stop all the way to the high, but just to this low for a 160 point move. I mean, honestly, with the current volatility, it's very weird to say these numbers. Like, even if we look at it percentage wise, like, it's still 0.85%. I mean, that used to be a full daily range. Well, not 160 points, but 0.85%. I forgot that we are down $4,000 pretty much on the NASDAQ, but it is crazy stuff, honestly, crazy stuff. But just looking at this is a far higher probability trade because of the distance, right? The difference in distance. So here we have 300 handles, 160 handles. So I would flip this trade any day of the week. This one gives me a better opportunity than this one. I can get out of this trade break even and take a good trade. And yeah, sometimes it's just going to keep going up. But if I can justify this short, I would take it. Now, this is what I did today. I got out at a slight loss and a slightly worse entry down here. Just the time to close a position and mark it in to a short. I don't know if I would recommend that for a lot of people. Truth is, today was just a harder day for my model, for the Rise model, right? So it's one of those days where you probably got out with a loss. And sometimes that's where the variance kicks in. Sometimes you'll get a win on days like these. It's really variance at this point. These ranges are beautiful to trade real money with. AMP is changing their margin more than I can change bias on the 1 minute chart. Yes, I did. I'm no longer using AMP myself. And I mean, it's conditions like these, like, you can't really be mad at the broker because it is crazy what's going on right now. But these are times where the good companies shine because they take the hit in moments like these. So definitely would recommend you guys going with NinjaTrader if you're looking to open a live account. I don't have a referral. I don't have anything like that. I've just never had issues with mine. So if I can recommend that, right? But yes, from this, definitely a very easy, simple trade. If your bias was short, well, this is probably the first setup you had. I mean, perhaps you shorted this, right? This is a unicorn. This is justifiable. And C3 PD array stop loss rules. Let's look at, always looking at both sides, right? So if you shorted this is your fair value gap, order block, and order block here. Well, actually, inversion fair value gap here is slightly lower. You would have gotten stopped out too after a long time of drawdown. It might not seem like long, but when you're in a trade and you have 30 minutes where it's just barely going away and then coming back to your break even, that hurts. And those types of trades I usually get broken even at because I see price consolidating and just place my stop break even. But let's just call this a loss. So if your bias was short, you would have had one loss here followed by this. This is the next trade. So one loss followed by a win. And of course, this is not your final objective. This is your partial. So after this point, you just break even and basically would have had a lot of opportunity for a lot bigger return. So even if you take every single setup that presents itself to you, you have a lot of opportunity, especially in this case, right? So if you were short, perhaps a loss before. If you were long, just a loss. We might look at the PM session, of course, after 11:30, not looking for any further trades in the AM. And as per the PM, well, you guys know me. I want to trade some lunch raids, so I could look for some sort of lunch raid short. It's just, to be fair with you guys, like, it's very hard for me to see price just from its high point, right? The current daily range is 1,400 handles. I'm not going to keep trading that as an expansion, okay? If I'm trading this, I'm trading a retracement. But even then, that's like, that's a lot. I'm having a lot of, a hard time adjusting mentally. So my trading is the same. That doesn't matter. But mentally, like, adjusting to the fact that, hey, look, the current daily range is 1,400 handles, which is almost, well, let's just call it 7.6%. And you want to keep trading this? But there are still some incredibly high probability moves there. But I don't know. It's just, it's so weird. You don't sound as confident as you usually do. I do not. I do not. And I mean, a day like this is usually like a trending day like this where I would have missed the SMT. That's just a losing day for me because I made the mistake and my bias was wrong in the morning. I managed to get back up with a win, barely a win. Because yes, you might have seen this, but this was full take profit. Why? Because I took a loss just before and flipped my trades, so I did not hold. Price is fractal, but you can easily get it easily stopped. Yes. I feel like tomorrow is as in the New York session. Maybe. Or maybe Trump pulls something out of his ass and we see another 12% run higher. Who knows? But yes, Faraz, in times like these, I'm a lot less confident. Because where does my confidence come from? Experience and statistics. There are no statistics about this, and no one can tell you they have experience in this. Unless they traded COVID, maybe. But I didn't trade COVID. So this is all new to me, just as it is new to you guys. Or maybe you guys did trade during COVID. It's still satellites around us, whether it be price or... Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so I want to be honest with you guys, right? I don't like telling you guys bullshit in this sense, right? I'm clueless in a market like this. So what do I do when I'm clueless? I just execute my model and have faith in my edge. And truth is, today you took every single trade, you would have had one loss going short here or break even. For me, that's a break even. I know it because I know how I trail my stop. But let's just call it one loss, another loss flipped into a short 4 win. I mean, we can consider the PM session, but really, well, I mean, you have an entry right at 130 here. A little far from that breaker block to consider it a unicorn, though, so I won't. And further than that, no. There's nothing even close to being able to be considered in this area. This did not give you an entry. I don't see bearish breaker formed here. Would have won, but that's never a trade I'm taking during the final hour. Would you have considered the breaker just before 9:30, even though the entry was after the open? Yeah, well, 100%. Do you mean the bearish breaker right here? Yeah, it was hard for me to consider. Yeah, so we'll look at it, but basically we're seeing this range, and I'll just use the larger range as I tend to like to do, right? This is a smaller range, and I mean, I just saw this, so I'm also going to draw this smaller range because I just saw how beautiful it was. And if you guys are curious, when I'm on my charts, I draw both, always. So whenever I see a larger range like this, and of course, I'm always referring to the last down close candle, so it doesn't matter. But for my standard deviation, it matters. I like to draw both. All right. Think of this as more of a longer term standard deviation objectives compared to this smaller one, which is going to be shorter term. But yes, 100%, right? You have a breaker block right here, right at 9:30. What does it do? It trades right into this. I always recommend not entering straight at 9:30 because sometimes it can be quite harsh on you. But let's be mechanical here. And 3 PD array stop loss rule. Is this inverted? It is not. Lucky. So fair value gap, fair value gap, fair value gap. No inversions here. Okay. So see that would not have stopped you out. I can't believe I'm seeing this number as the stop loss and that this is normal. But yes. And what could you have looked for to partial? Honestly, I just have our objectives in this one in time. But yes, you had plenty of room, plenty of opportunity for a great trade. So definitely, it's just kind of hard for me to look at something to target that's specific. But in a case like this, it would be more so Like, see, we have the larger standard deviations here that have 2.5 and 2 here, which you are at 1.7 R. Definitely would look to take profit here. You want to hold that until 2. You want to change that rule for 2. Go for it. The difference is about 7% win rate. So it is worth it to hold until 2. I just prefer not to because I focus on consistency over return. In this case, that'd be 1.7. As soon as my rules allow for take profit, look for a take profit. And then you go break even and you would have gotten stopped out break even here. If you had a slightly higher entry, then you would have been fine. Isn't it more risky to enter right after the open because of the open volatility? Yeah, well, entering before the open is always gonna be risky. Well, near the open, of course. But if you give it a minute or two for the volatility to die down, and not even the volatility, it's more so a question of the spread. So when a lot of volatility hits the market one shot, right, that creates spread. So your orders, me marketing into this candle, could literally place me here before the candle even reaches it. So in cases like these, it might be worth waiting a minute, and then you're going to enter on the open of the next candle, which is what I used to do when I had a 9:30 entry. I would wait for 9:30. 9:30 gave me the entry, and as soon as this candle closed, I just took the entry. Sometimes I'd be 40 points in the wrong direction, already on side with price, and I'd get a worse entry, but it'd be safer, I guess is a good way to put it. But I just wanted to be pessimistic and not say, oh, well, look at the perfect, entry that I just chose with hindsight. I like to be pessimistic when we do these calls, right? But yes, definitely, I would 100% consider this. A little hard for me to visualize because I was looking for longs. But yes, this is a great short. And if your bias was short, which, by the way, would have been correct for today, right? We talked about it. We were looking for a retracement. For me, the first quarter was enough, but once I saw that SMT, I understood that this was going to be a trending day lower. Well, this was going to be. It has a high probability of being a trending day lower, which means what? Which means that my best trading opportunities is just to follow the move. Does a 3PD array still provide with the volatility? It still works, right? You don't have to wait after 9:30. I just like to do that in cases where I market order 20 contracts. I don't want to be slipped to hell, right? But I mean, it's full of opportunities, full of different trade ideas that you could look for. Mainly scalps, in my opinion, unless you shorted early, right? This is your expansion, your last leg of distribution, if you guys prefer saying. Perhaps trade some, if you're trading during lunch, right? You had some long opportunities, but you guys know me. Truth is, it's just a bad day for my model. But if you took this trade, took your partial, and then held through, that's still a banger trade. I just didn't hold through, so I don't want to tell you guys that when I didn't trade it, Using midnight deviations, you can also determine whether or not, yeah, yes, sir, whether it moves past 1.5. I did used to do that quite a bit, actually, bottom frag, looking at, what did you do? Midnight deviations? I was looking at the Asia session deviation, Asia range deviations. So based on what ICT says, and when we expand past a certain level there, yes, 100%. It's just not worth it anymore to look for reversals because the probabilities are so low. So you just trade continuations. Any idea for tomorrow? I'm still stuck on my long idea. Honestly. I mean, now we've retraced plenty. But then, if I exit replay mode here and we look at the first 2 hours of trading of the day, we're already down 400 or 500 points. So, no clue. No clue. That's the truth. Yeah, we didn't form a fair value gap. Guess so. We're inverting this fair value gap and then closing back below it. Very bearish. Very, very bearish. Yes, definitely a bottom frame. Yes, that too. On the intermediate time frames. I don't use protected lows and protected highs or just that stuff myself. But I would definitely agree with you that here it's just not very possible to frame longs, right? We'll see tomorrow. If I see a beautiful sweep of, I don't know, previous day low, and there's SMT, there's a beautiful setup. I mean, I'll take it. Because right now I'm trading my model fully mechanically, not based on higher time frame direction. Because, as I said, I'm pretty clueless on the higher time frame direction right now. So what am I going to do? Well, just trade my model. And that's it. Simple as that. I mean, I had a super good week last week, so I really can't complain if my week here starts with barely profit day. I mean, I'm complaining here, but I still ended up $400 on the day, so I can't complain. That's the truth. But yeah, in moments of uncertainty, it's better, in my opinion, to just stick to what you know. And what I know is the Rise model, so that's what I'm sticking with. Do we have any questions about the day? It definitely was a weird one for me, but at the end, it really was just a trending day with the PM retracement, which is pretty fucking standard. This happens quite often. Just weird to see this going lower when in the last few months I didn't see a trending day lower. I'm not seeing any questions. I'm guessing it was all clear. Quite a quick review because there isn't much to talk about. Was some early setups, but nothing else. Afterwards, at least. My pleasure. How do you keep tabs on circuit breaker levels? What do you mean by that? Give me a little explanation, Jay. My pleasure, guys. Always love to do these. You guys know me. How do you keep tabs on circuit breaker levels? For me, a breaker block is different. Yeah, check your fuse box. Yes, 100%. But I look for breaker blocks. And if you want more details on breaker blocks, I mean, it's like 1,000 times. Like PA was moving and it hit 5%. Oh, that. Which means top step locks down trading. I don't trade prop firms anymore, Jay. So I'm out of it. And on regular brokers, you don't have a limit. They just close trading if we are there. MFFU has put out an Indy. Use that. They still have a 7% limit. Yeah. Yeah, but they'll just close trading. What is it here? He just said that they've used it. What's the name of the indicator, Magic? That MFU has released an indicator to showcase that for you. Circuit. Oh, why am I searching for a symbol? MFFU circuit breaker zones. Okay. That is ugly as fuck, but yes, sure. Okay. So there you go. So the first line here, I'm guessing, is a 5%. Yeah, so this is 5% and this is 7%. So basically, once we reach that box, and you can even remove this, this is a very level 1 indicator. But see, you have, for example, if you just want your 5% limits, the day opens, and that is your plus 5%, minus 5%. So you know that if you reach that, you need to have all your positions closed. I mean, it does its job. I can't complain. It is a great indicator in the sense that it does what it should do, right? I've just gotten so used to pretty stuff, not necessarily just useful stuff, just pretty stuff. My trading view just had a little bit of a heart attack there. Sacre bleu, my AMP account's messing with these margins. Wow. Yeah, it isn't. Really isn't. Pleasure. Thanks, Magic, for sharing that with us. All right. On that note, we're going to call it a day, guys. Good luck trading tomorrow. I know I'm definitely going to need it. But we'll see each other tomorrow night for another one of these price action reviews. You guys have a great night.